Next up, I'm going to run through an assortment, a small assortment of unrelated elements that are just quick and easy for us to talk about. And the first one is the HR, the horizontal rule element. Not something you'll use very often, most likely, but you may encounter it. I'll just show it to you. It is an element that does not have a closing tag. So it's just HR. There's no content, no attribute that we need to provide, and it just makes by default at least, a line going across the screen horizontally. It's kind of like a divider. They describe it on MDN as a thematic break, or it represents a thematic break between paragraph level elements. So this could be a change of scenery in a story or a shift of topic. Usually it's just a line, but you can style it and you can change how it appears. But I'll just show you it right now. How about after our H1, we'll write HR. Just like that. Refresh. And there it is. Stunning, right? Remember, you can change that. You can make it look however you want. You can even get this effect without an HR. You can add a border to the bottom of an H1 or some other element. But that's an HR. While we're here, another option or another element, definitely not commonly used, is the BR or the break, line break element. This just makes a break. It makes a break in your content, a line break. And really the one situation where I do think it can be useful is something like this here, where we have a poem and we want to control the line breaks specifically. We could just make a bunch of paragraphs. So this could be a paragraph, that could be a paragraph, that could be a paragraph. But that kind of defeats the purpose of what a paragraph is supposed to represent. A paragraph is a chunk of content that is kind of grouped together. So you could use the break, the BR elements, to make your little poem here and have your lines break exactly where you want them to. So I have a poem on my clipboard that I'm going to paste in here somewhere. Let's do maybe just an H2, auguries. How do you spell augury? Jeez. Of innocence. Okay. And then I'm going to make a paragraph, and here's my poem in there. I'll paste that in. And if I just left it like this and refreshed, well, we end up with one massive line of text. Those breaks are ignored. But if I use a BR, wherever I put that, it will create a line break. So it's a way of saying I explicitly want a line break here. I still want this content to be grouped together, so I'm not going to just use a bunch of paragraphs or some other option. I want this whole thing to be a paragraph, but I want to control the spacing or the lines. So there we go. That's one option. BR for break, HR for horizontal rule. Now the next two elements are kind of a pair. They're not that commonly used, but you will see them, especially on things like Wikipedia. They are the superscript and subscript elements. So we use them to designate text as superscript. So superscript is text that is elevated off of the baseline, like an exponent here, a squared plus b squared is c squared. Or if we go to Wikipedia, the citations, I don't know what you call that there, but that link, that is superscript, right? It's elevated off the baseline. And I'm sure if we actually inspect, well, I hope that's what we'll see. There we go. It's a sup element for superscript, SUP. So I'll show that very briefly. Why don't we do a fake citation? Actually, I think we have, sure, let's do one of these right here. So we've got that 2 in brackets. All I need to do is SUP and then put my content inside. This might be a little hard to see because it is such a tiny change, but if I pay close attention, there it is. It's now treated as superscript. So I could also nest other content in there. I could make an anchor tag, which is exactly what Wikipedia does. Give it an href and set that equal to, I don't know, source, some source.com or something. And now we've got our link that is superscript. So we nested content inside of it. And then we have subscript, which is the element sub, sub. And this will create text that is rendered below the baseline and sometimes smaller as well. So things like this here, where we've got chemical formulas in chemistry. I'm sure there are other examples. I don't use it very often, but you'll see it. Let's just do a simple example of maybe H2O or something. Let's do, how about, we'll go down to the bottom here. And after our image, We'll do an H2 again. I like H2O. And I'm going to make that 2 on the baseline. So H, and then I want to sub around the 2. Just like that. And there we go. I like H2O. You could also do fractions with this. So we could have another example. Let's just do, I don't know, a paragraph. How about 1/2? So we would have something like 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1. Well, if I wanted to try and make this a bit more fraction-y, I could do 1 over and then make 2 subscript. And let's see how that looks. I think it might look a little odd. It's okay. What if we make this part superscript? Put the 1 right there. Okay, yeah, that looks better. That looks like a nice little fraction. So, yeah, I guess I can duplicate that twice. That's a good example now. We've got superscript and subscript working together to make our fraction. All right, so we covered HR, BR, sup, and sub, a collection of quick assorted elements.